Listen, I need you to really hear what I'm about to tell you today, because this message could change everything about how you see love, how you see yourself, and how you see the person God has prepared for you. Before we dive in, if you've never been here before, welcome to this family. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now, because we're building something real here. A community that doesn't settle for shallow advice or quick fixes. We go deep, we speak truth, and we believe that God's design for love is so much bigger and more beautiful than what the world has sold us. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's walk this journey together. And to those of you who've sent super thanks, I see you, I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Your support doesn't just keep this channel going. It tells me that these messages are landing in your heart, and that means everything. If today's message touches you and you feel led to support us through super thanks, we'd be incredibly grateful. It helps us continue creating content that brings hope, healing, and truth into your life. Now let's get into this. You've been carrying something heavy, haven't you? Maybe it's shame about your past. Maybe it's fear that if someone really knew you, the real you, the messy you, the broken parts you keep hidden, they'd walk away. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you have to be perfect, polished, and put together before you're worthy of real love. And maybe, just maybe, you've been waiting for someone to prove that they won't leave when things get hard. I'm here to tell you today that your soulmate already knows. They know about the parts of you that you think are too much or not enough. They know about your wounds, your weaknesses, your past mistakes, and your present struggles. And here's the truth that will set you free. They choose you anyway, not in spite of who you are, but because of who you are. Flaws, scars, imperfections, and all. Nothing could make them walk away. Nothing. This isn't fantasy. This isn't fairy tale thinking. This is biblical love. This is covenant love. This is the kind of love that Jesus modeled for us. A love that sees everything, knows everything, and still says, "You are mine, and I'm not going anywhere." And God, in His infinite wisdom and kindness, has designed human love to reflect that same commitment, that same choice, that same daily decision to stay. Today, I'm going to walk you through 9 powerful truths about the kind of love that doesn't run when it sees your real self. These aren't just nice ideas. These are revelations that will shift how you show up in relationships, how you guard your heart, and how you recognize the person God has truly called to stand beside you. So settle in, open your heart, and let's talk about the love that chooses you every single day. Let's go. Number 1, they see your worst and call it beautiful. Your soulmate doesn't love you because you've hidden your flaws well. They love you because they've seen your worst moments, your ugly cries, your bad attitudes, your selfish patterns, and somehow, in the mystery of God's design, they still look at you with tenderness. That's not denial. That's not blindness. That's love that sees clearly and chooses deeply. Think about how Jesus loved Peter. Peter, the one who swore he'd never deny Christ, then turned around and did it 3 times before the rooster crowed. Peter, the impulsive, hot-headed fisherman who constantly put his foot in his mouth. Jesus knew Peter would fail. He told him exactly what was going to happen. And after the resurrection, when Peter was drowning in shame, Jesus didn't reject him. He restored him. He looked at Peter and said, "Feed my sheep." He gave him purpose again. He chose him again. That's the model for covenant love. Your soulmate sees you clearly, not through rose-colored glasses, but through the lens of grace. They see your anger, your insecurity, your control issues, your emotional walls, and instead of running, they ask, "What hurt you? What made you build these defenses? How can I love you through this?" They don't need you to be perfect because they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for someone real, someone human, someone willing to grow. And here's what makes this so powerful. When someone loves you at your worst, you stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop exhausting yourself trying to maintain an image. You can finally breathe. You can finally be yourself. And in that space of acceptance, something miraculous happens. You actually start to heal. You start to grow. Not because you're trying to earn their love, but because their love creates a safe place for transformation. The world tells you to hide your mess. The world says, put your best foot forward. Don't let them see you're crazy until they're already committed. But God's design is different. God's design says, let yourself be fully known, because love that survives transparency is love that will last. Your soulmate doesn't need you to be polished. They need you to be real. And when you're real, when you're vulnerable, when you let them see the parts of you that you've been ashamed of, their love doesn't shrink, it deepens. This is what separates a soulmate from someone who's just passing through. A soulmate doesn't love the version of you that you perform. They love the version of you that shows up on Tuesday morning, when you haven't brushed your hair and you're grumpy and tired. They love you when you're overwhelmed and snapping at everyone. They love you when you're spiraling in anxiety or shutting down in depression. They don't require you to have it all together because they understand that life is messy, people are complicated, and love is a choice you make in the middle of the mess. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean they enable destructive behavior. This doesn't mean they tolerate abuse or disrespect. A soulmate will call you higher. They'll challenge you. They'll speak truth to you when you're out of line. But they do it from a place of commitment, not condemnation. They correct you because they're invested in your growth, not because they're looking for a reason to leave. There's a massive difference between someone who tolerates you and someone who loves you enough to help you become better. Your soulmate sees your worst and doesn't flinch. They see your worst and still choose to build a life with you. They see your worst and say, I know who you're becoming and I want to be there for every step of that journey. That's the kind of love that changes you. That's the kind of love that makes you want to be better, not out of fear, but out of gratitude. That's the kind of love God designed for you. Number 2, they fight for you, not against you. Let me tell you something that will change how you view conflict in relationships. Your soulmate doesn't see you as the enemy when there's a problem. They see the problem as the enemy, and they stand beside you to fight it. That's the difference between toxic relationships and covenant relationships. In toxic relationships, it's you versus them. In covenant relationships, it's both of you versus the issue. When conflict arises, and it will because you're two imperfect people learning to do life together, your soulmate doesn't weaponize your past. They don't throw your mistakes in your face. They don't bring up every failure, every wound, every time you messed up. Instead, they focus on the present issue. They communicate with the goal of resolution, and they protect the relationship even in the middle of the disagreement. Ephesians 4:26 says, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. That's not a suggestion to avoid conflict. That's an instruction on how to handle it. Your soulmate understands this principle. They know that anger is a human emotion, but it doesn't have to become a destructive force. They know how to disagree with you without disrespecting you. They know how to express frustration without attacking your character. They know how to be upset and still honor the covenant they've made with you. Here's what this looks like in real life. When you make a mistake, your soulmate doesn't say, I knew you'd mess this up. You always do this. They say, hey, this hurt me, and I need us to talk about it so we can move forward together. See the difference? One statement tears down, the other builds up while still addressing the issue. One pushes you away, the other invites you into a conversation that can lead to healing. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're with someone who fights for you instead of against you, you don't feel the need to be defensive all the time. You don't have to protect yourself in every conversation. You don't have to walk on eggshells or rehearse what you're going to say because you're afraid of their reaction. You can be honest. You can be vulnerable. You can say, I messed up and I'm sorry, without fear that they'll use it as ammunition later. This is where so many relationships fall apart, not because of the conflict itself, but because of how the conflict is handled. Some people use arguments as an opportunity to win. Your soulmate uses arguments as an opportunity to understand. Some people fight to prove they're right. Your soulmate fights to make sure the relationship survives. Some people collect offenses and store them up for the next big blowout. Your soulmate extends grace, forgives quickly, and moves forward without holding grudges. And let me speak directly to the women reading this, because I know many of you have been in relationships where you felt like you had to shrink yourself to keep the peace. You've been with men who made you feel like your emotions were too much, your needs were too demanding, your voice was too loud. That's not a soulmate. A soulmate doesn't silence you. A soulmate creates space for you to be fully expressed. A soulmate doesn't dismiss your feelings. They honor them, even when they don't fully understand them. Men, hear me on this. Fighting for your woman doesn't mean you always agree with her. It means, even when you disagree, you still treat her with dignity. It means you don't shut down, you don't stonewall, you don't punish her with silence. It means you lean in, you listen, you validate her experience, even if it's different from yours. That's how you fight for someone. That's how you show them their imperfections. Don't disqualify them from your love. Your soulmate sees conflict as an opportunity to grow closer, not as a reason to create distance. They understand that tension is a part of intimacy. They understand that working through hard things together actually strengthens the bond between you. They don't run when things get difficult. They don't threaten to leave when you disagree. They plant their feet, they hold your hand, and they say, "We're going to figure this out together." And that, my friend, is the kind of love that lasts. Number 3, they celebrate your growth, not just your perfection. Your soulmate isn't waiting for you to arrive at some imaginary finish line of perfection before they fully commit to you. They're celebrating the journey. They're cheering for your progress. They're proud of the steps you're taking, even if they're small. They see who you're becoming, and that excites them more than some polished version of you that doesn't actually exist. One of the most damaging lies we believe about love is that we have to be fixed before we're worthy of it. We think we need to have our trauma healed, our bad habits broken, our emotional baggage unpacked before someone can truly love us. But that's not how God designed it. God designed love to be the environment where healing happens. God designed partnership to be the context where growth accelerates. Your soulmate doesn't love you despite your imperfections. They love you through them. Philippians 1:6 says, "He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." God isn't finished with you yet. You're still being shaped. You're still being refined. You're still learning and growing and becoming. And your soulmate understands that. They're patient with your process. They don't rush you. They don't demand that you have everything figured out right now. They walk with you as you figure it out. Think about the difference between someone who celebrates your growth and someone who constantly criticizes your imperfections. One makes you feel hopeful. The other makes you feel hopeless. One makes you want to keep trying. The other makes you want to give up. One sees your potential and calls it out of you. The other focuses on your failures and makes you feel stuck. Your soulmate is the former. They're the voice of encouragement when you're doubting yourself. They're the reminder of how far you've come when you feel like you haven't made any progress. This is so important, especially for those of you who have been in relationships where you felt like you were never enough. Maybe you were constantly criticized. Maybe your partner always pointed out what you were doing wrong, but never acknowledged what you were doing right. Maybe you felt like no matter how hard you tried, it was never good enough. That's not love. That's control. That's manipulation. That's someone using your imperfections as a weapon to keep you small. A soulmate does the opposite. They see your flaws and say, "I believe in you. I see you trying. I see you fighting. I see you growing. And I'm so proud of you." They notice when you apologize faster than you used to. They notice when you choose patience instead of anger. They notice when you communicate more clearly, set healthier boundaries, or make better choices. And they celebrate those victories with you because they're invested in your growth. And here's the thing, when you're with someone who celebrates your progress, you actually grow faster. You have more motivation. You have more courage to face the hard things because you know you're not alone in the process. You're not being judged. You're being supported. You're not being shamed. You're being championed. And that creates momentum. That creates transformation. That creates a relationship where both people are constantly evolving into better versions of themselves. Your soulmate also gives you grace when you backslide. Because growth isn't linear. You're going to have good days and bad days. You're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You're going to mess up sometimes. You're going to fall into old patterns. And your soulmate isn't going to abandon you when that happens. They're going to remind you of who you are. They're going to speak truth over you. They're going to help you get back up and keep going. This is what covenant love looks like. It's not contingent on perfection. It's committed through the process. It's not waiting for you to get it all together. It's walking with you as you put the pieces together. It's not frustrated by your imperfections. It's faithful in spite of them. Your soulmate doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be willing to grow, willing to change, willing to keep showing up even when it's hard. And as long as you're willing, they're committed. Number 4, they protect your heart, even when you're wrong. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Your soulmate will defend you even when you're wrong. Not because they think you're right, but because they're committed to protecting your dignity. They'll correct you in private, but they'll never humiliate you in public. They'll call you out when needed, but they'll never tear you down. They understand the difference between accountability and condemnation, and they always err on the side of love. This is one of the clearest signs of a soulmate. They protect your reputation, your character, and your heart, even in moments when you don't deserve it. They don't gossip about you to their friends. They don't vent about your flaws on social media. They don't throw you under the bus to make themselves look better. They cover you. They honor you. They speak well of you, even when you've disappointed them. Proverbs 17:9 says, "Whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends." Your soulmate understands this principle. They know that love doesn't broadcast your failures. Love doesn't expose your weaknesses for everyone to see. Love protects. Love covers. Love handles things in private so that healing can happen without humiliation. Now let me be clear, this doesn't mean they enable bad behavior. This doesn't mean they ignore serious issues or sweep things under the rug. A soulmate will absolutely address problems, but they do it in a way that preserves your dignity. They do it in a way that invites change without creating shame. They do it because they want you to grow, not because they want to punish you. Think about Jesus and the woman caught in adultery. The Pharisees dragged her out in public, exposed her sin for everyone to see, and were ready to stone her. They wanted to humiliate her. They wanted to destroy her. But Jesus knelt down in the dirt with her. He defended her. He sent her accusers away. And then, when it was just the 2 of them, he said, "Go and sin no more." He addressed the issue without shaming her. He protected her dignity while still calling her higher. That's the model for how love handles our imperfections. Your soulmate does the same thing. When you mess up, they don't blast you. They don't call you out in front of others. They don't make you feel small. They pull you aside. They speak to you with respect. They say, "Hey, we need to talk about this because I love you too much to let this continue." They correct you from a place of care, not cruelty. They address the behavior without attacking your character. And here's what makes this so powerful. When someone protects your heart, even when you're wrong, you actually become more open to correction. You don't feel the need to defend yourself all the time. You don't feel attacked, so you don't have to counterattack. You can receive what they're saying because you know it's coming from a place of love. You can admit your mistakes because you know they're not going to be used against you later. This is especially important for women who have been in relationships with men who weaponized their vulnerabilities. You opened up, you shared your insecurities, your fears, your past mistakes, and then, in a moment of anger, he threw it all back in your face. He used your honesty as ammunition. He made you regret ever being vulnerable. That's not a soulmate. A soulmate takes what you share and guards it like treasure. They never use your openness against you. They honor your trust. They protect what you've entrusted to them. Men, this is your charge. Be the kind of man who creates safety for your woman. Be the kind of man who protects her heart so fiercely that she never has to wonder if she's safe with you. Don't be the man who tears her down in front of your friends to get a laugh. Don't be the man who criticizes her to your family. Don't be the man who makes her feel foolish for trusting you. Be the man who covers her, honors her, and defends her, even when she's wrong. Your soulmate understands that protecting your heart isn't about ignoring your imperfections. It's about addressing them in a way that leads to healing, not harm. It's about creating a relationship where correction feels like love, not judgment. It's about being someone you can trust with your worst moments because you know they'll handle them with grace. That's covenant love. That's soulmate love. That's the love God designed for you. Number 5, they're committed to the relationship, not just the feeling. Let's talk about something the world doesn't want you to understand. Real love isn't a feeling. It's a commitment. It's a choice. It's a covenant. And your soulmate knows this. They're not with you because butterflies flutter in their stomach every single day. They're with you because they made a decision to love you, to stay with you, to build a life with you, and they honor that decision even when emotions fluctuate. This is where so many relationships fall apart. People chase feelings, they chase chemistry, they chase the rush of new love, the excitement of infatuation, the thrill of romance. And when those feelings inevitably fade, because they always do, they think the love is gone. They think they've fallen out of love. They think they're no longer compatible, so they leave. They move on to the next person, chasing the same high, only to find themselves in the same place a few years later. But your soulmate operates differently. They understand that feelings come and go. Some days they wake up and feel deeply in love with you. Other days they wake up and feel neutral. Some seasons the relationship feels easy and joyful. Other seasons it feels hard and exhausting. But through all of it, the highs and the lows, the passion and the mundane, they stay. They choose you. They honor the commitment they made to you. Corinthians 13:4-7 paints the picture. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Notice what's not in that list. Nowhere does it say love is a feeling. It's all action. It's all choice. It's all commitment. Your soulmate loves you on the days when they feel like it and on the days when they don't. They serve you when it's convenient and when it's costly. They honor you when you're at your best and when you're at your worst. They don't wake up every morning evaluating whether the relationship still makes them happy. They wake up every morning recommitting to the covenant they made with you. That's what makes them a soulmate. That's what makes the relationship last. And here's what this means for you. You don't have to live in fear that one bad day, one mistake, one season of struggle will cause them to walk away. You don't have to perform. You don't have to keep the spark alive all by yourself. You don't have to constantly worry that if you're not exciting enough, attractive enough, interesting enough, they'll lose interest. Because their love isn't based on your performance. It's based on their commitment. This doesn't mean the relationship becomes boring or lifeless. Commitment doesn't equal complacency. Your soulmate still pursues you. They still date you. They still invest in the relationship. But they do it from a place of covenant, not convenience. They do it because they're building something that lasts, not because they're chasing a temporary high. They understand that real intimacy, real depth, real connection, it all comes from staying, not from constantly searching for something better. And let me speak to those of you who have been abandoned before. Maybe someone told you they loved you, then walked away the moment things got hard. Maybe someone promised to stay, then left when you weren't fun anymore. Maybe someone made you believe you were there forever, then treated you like you were disposable. That wasn't a soulmate. That was someone who confused love with a feeling. That was someone who never understood what covenant means. Your soulmate is different. They don't threaten to leave when things get tough. They don't give you the silent treatment for days to punish you. They don't dangle the relationship over your head like a weapon. They don't make you feel like you're always one mistake away from being abandoned. They're steady. They're consistent. They're committed. And that consistency creates a safety that allows you to fully show up without fear. This is what separates a soulmate from everyone else. Everyone else loves you when it's easy. Your soulmate loves you when it's hard. Everyone else stays when you're adding value to their life. Your soulmate stays because they made a covenant with you. Everyone else walks away when the feelings fade. Your soulmate digs deeper and chooses to keep loving you. That's the difference. That's the gift. That's the love God designed for you. Number 6, they see your potential and believe in your purpose. Your soulmate doesn't just accept who you are, they also see who you're becoming. They have a vision for your future that sometimes exceeds your own. They believe in your potential even when you don't. They see gifts in you that you've overlooked. They speak life over your dreams when you're tempted to give up. They're not just a partner in your present. They're a partner in your destiny. This is one of the most profound aspects of soulmate love. They don't love you in a way that keeps you small. They love you in a way that calls you higher. They're not intimidated by your growth. They're not threatened by your success. They're not jealous of your gifts. They celebrate them. They encourage them. They create space for you to step into everything God has called you to be. Proverbs 27:17 says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." Your soulmate is that iron. They challenge you. They push you. They refuse to let you settle for less than what God has placed inside you. But they do it with love, not with harshness. They do it because they see something in you that the world hasn't seen yet, and they want to help you birth it. Think about how many people have been held back by relationships where their partner felt threatened by their potential. Maybe you wanted to go back to school, but they discouraged you. Maybe you wanted to start a business, but they talked you out of it. Maybe you wanted to step into ministry, but they made you feel guilty for investing time in it. That's not a soulmate. That's someone who's more concerned with their comfort than your calling. Your soulmate does the opposite. They say, "Go for it. I believe in you. I'll support you. I'll hold down the fort while you chase this dream. I'll pray for you. I'll encourage you. I'll be your biggest fan." They're not competing with you. They're collaborating with you. They understand that when you win, the relationship wins. They understand that your purpose and their purpose are intertwined, and they're committed to helping you fulfill both. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're with someone who believes in you, you start to believe in yourself more. Their confidence in you becomes contagious. Their vision for your life starts to reshape how you see yourself. They speak words over you that you've never heard before. Words like, "You're capable. You're anointed. You're going to do great things. I see God's hand on your life." And those words become like seeds that take root in your heart and produce fruit. This is especially powerful for those of you who grew up without affirmation. Maybe your parents didn't speak life over you. Maybe you were constantly criticized, constantly compared, constantly told you weren't good enough. And now, as an adult, you struggle to see your own value. You struggle to believe you have anything significant to offer. But then, your soulmate walks into your life and starts speaking a different narrative. They start calling out the gold in you. They start affirming the gifts you've buried. They start believing in you so loudly that you can't help but start believing in yourself. Your soulmate also holds you accountable to your purpose. They don't let you make excuses. They don't let you play small. They don't let you hide behind fear or insecurity. When you're tempted to quit, they remind you why you started. When you're discouraged, they remind you of what God said about you. When you're overwhelmed, they remind you that you're not doing this alone. They're your partner, your cheerleader, your intercessor, your accountability partner, all wrapped into one. And let me say this to the women, a man who is truly your soulmate will never feel threatened by your strength. He won't try to dim your light so he can shine brighter. He won't try to control you or keep you in a box. He'll celebrate your intelligence, your leadership, your gifts, your calling. He'll create space for you to flourish. He'll be proud to stand beside a woman who's walking in her purpose. That's a real man. That's a soulmate. And men, a woman who is truly your soulmate will never tear down your vision. She won't mock your dreams or make you feel foolish for having ambition. She'll be your biggest supporter. She'll pray for you. She'll believe in you. She'll stand with you through the seasons of building. She'll remind you of who God called you to be when the world tries to make you forget. That's a real woman. That's a soulmate. Your soulmate sees your potential and believes in your purpose because they understand that you're not just together for companionship. You're together for kingdom impact. You're together to build something that outlasts you. You're together to fulfill a calling that's bigger than both of you. And that kind of partnership, that kind of love, that kind of unity, it's unstoppable. Number 7, they honor your past without holding it against you. Your soulmate knows your story. They know where you've been. They know what you've done. They know the mistakes you've made, the relationships that didn't work out, the seasons when you walked away from God. They know the parts of your past that you're ashamed of. And they honor it, not by pretending it didn't happen, but by recognizing that it shaped who you are today. And they love who you are today. This is a game changer. So many people stay stuck in toxic relationships because they believe their past disqualifies them from real love. They think if someone knew what I've done, they'd never want me. They think I've made too many mistakes. I'm damaged goods. I don't deserve someone who truly loves me. And so they settle. They accept mistreatment. They stay in relationships where they're constantly reminded of their past failures. But your soulmate doesn't operate that way. They understand something powerful. Your past is not your identity. Your mistakes are not your definition. Your history is not your destiny. They see you through the lens of grace. They see you through the lens of redemption. They see you the way God sees you, forgiven, restored, made new. Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." Your soulmate believes this about you. They don't define you by who you used to be. They celebrate who you are now. They don't weaponize your past during arguments. They don't bring up old wounds to win a fight. They don't use your history as leverage to control you. They honor it, learn from it, and move forward with you. And here's what's so beautiful about this. When you're with someone who honors your past without holding it against you, you finally get to let it go. You don't have to carry the shame anymore. You don't have to keep punishing yourself for things God has already forgiven. You don't have to live in fear that your past will be exposed and used against you. You can be free. You can be present. You can move forward without constantly looking over your shoulder. Your soulmate also understands that your past gave you wisdom. It gave you empathy. It gave you strength. It gave you a testimony. They don't see your past as a liability. They see it as part of your story. They see how it prepared you for this season. They see how it deepened your relationship with God. They see how it made you more compassionate, more humble, more grateful. And they honor that. This is especially important for those of you who have been in relationships where your past was constantly used as ammunition. Maybe you made a mistake years ago. You repented, you moved on. But your partner never let you forget it. Every time there was conflict, they brought it up. Every time they wanted to hurt you, they reminded you of who you used to be. That's not love. That's manipulation. That's control. That's someone who doesn't understand grace. Your soulmate understands grace. They understand forgiveness. They understand that everyone has a past, everyone has made mistakes, and everyone deserves a fresh start. They don't keep a record of wrongs. They don't hold grudges. They don't store up offenses to use later. They forgive you the way Christ forgave you, completely, fully, without conditions. And let me speak to those of you who are still holding your own past against yourself. Maybe you've forgiven everyone else, but you haven't forgiven you. Maybe you've accepted God's forgiveness, but you still struggle with self-condemnation. Your soulmate will help you see yourself differently. They'll remind you of God's grace. They'll speak truth over you when the enemy tries to drag you back into shame. They'll be a living, breathing reminder that your past doesn't define you. God's love does. Your soulmate also protects your past. They don't gossip about it. They don't share your story with people who haven't earned the right to hear it. They guard what you've entrusted to them. They honor your vulnerability. They treat your story with the tenderness and respect it deserves. Because they understand that your past is sacred, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Number 8, they make you feel safe enough to heal. One of the greatest gifts your soulmate gives you is safety, not just physical safety, but emotional safety. They create an environment where you can finally heal from the wounds you've been carrying. They don't rush your healing. They don't minimize your pain. They don't tell you to get over it or move on already. They sit with you in your pain. They hold space for you. They let you process at your own pace. And in that safety, healing happens. Healing can't happen in chaos. Healing can't happen when you're constantly on edge, wondering if you're about to be attacked, abandoned, or betrayed. Healing requires safety. It requires trust. It requires consistency, and your soulmate provides all of that. They're predictable in the best way. They're steady. They're reliable. You know that when you open up, they won't use it against you. You know that when you're vulnerable, they won't mock you. You know that when you're hurting, they won't dismiss you. Psalm 147:3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." God is the ultimate healer, but he often uses people as instruments of his healing. Your soulmate is one of those instruments. They're the safe place where you can finally address the trauma you've been avoiding. They're the gentle presence that makes it okay to feel. They're the listening ear that doesn't judge. They're the strong arms that hold you when you fall apart. And here's the thing, healing is messy. It's not linear. It's not pretty. There are breakdowns. There are triggers. There are days when old wounds resurface and you don't know why. There are moments when you lash out, shut down, or spiral into fear. Your soulmate doesn't run when it gets messy. They understand that healing takes time.